Why, hello, everyone. Welcome, 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 welcome. Welcome on in to Coffee with Brodes. How are you all today? The Philadelphia 76ers advance without Joel Embiid. Ben Simmons looked great at the 5. He got himself a triple-double. Tyrese Maxey's an absolute fucking stud. On top of that, Russell Westbrook sucks. I don't know if you caught my post-game show or not, but I'll tell you for free that Russell Westbrook is not good. What else do we have? Yeah, that's about it. The Phillies were canceled, so unfortunately we did not have that, and that's where we're basically at right now. So I'm a little disappointed and upset when it comes to Joel Embiid. I think that we are in a predicament here. I do. I don't think it's going to be anything where, he's coming back game 1, game 2, game 3. Like, I think we're going to have to play some serious action without the big fella. And playing some serious action without the big fella makes me nervous. Makes me nervous. As good as yesterday was, it is not playing a better team. It's not playing a better team. And I still think they could get the job done without Embiid against the Atlanta Hawks. I'm not saying that they can't, but it's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be as easy, and it's going to be definitely more difficult. That's all the same thing. I just said it in 3 different ways. Yeah, there's a concern for me, for sure. For sure. Before we hop into it, though, you know how we do it here. Happy coffee time. Happy coffee time. It's new. Happy coffee time. Amazing. Embiid will be back for the Eastern Conference Finals. See, once we start talking about that, we got to get there first. And like I said, it's not impossible. This team is a very strong team, and they are constructed very well. There is an element here of missing Joel Embiid could be a problem, though. I mean, it's definitely not going to be easy to beat the Hawks. You're closer to the Hawks now than you were the 76ers. So you're definitely taking a step closer to the Hawks now that Embiid's not there. We got 500 yen coming in from Mullet Petition for Alvarado. Medical Vid says, was informative. JoJo's demeanor on the sideline was subdued, to say the least. My guess is game 5. Yeah, the thing is, you hear this doctor, you hear that doctor, you're hearing this, you could play on that. It could have been torn before. Maybe it was torn before, and now they're just seeing it, this and that. And look, here's what I know. Joel Embiid is in a spot where he has a torn meniscus. There is a tear in his meniscus. So it's serious, it's an issue, and it should be concerning. To act as if Joel Embiid having a torn meniscus during a playoff run should not be worrisome, should not be a hot topic. You shouldn't worry at all. No, there should be worries. And this is coming from someone who I wasn't nervous. I thought we're okay. Don't worry about it. Did you see the way that he played afterwards? He got right up. He went to the bench. It did not seem instantly like there was an issue. Now, of course, adrenaline is rushing. You're living in that moment, right? You're playing the game. You're out there on the floor. But no, it's time to feel a little worried. All right? It's time to feel worried. And if you don't, God bless you. I am. Not impossible. But I'm very worried. Not impossible to beat the Hawks. You don't have a chance in hell. To beat the Milwaukee Bucks or the Brooklyn Nets without the big fella. So in terms of championship, yeah, you're doomed without Joel Embiid. In terms of the Atlanta Hawks, I'm not ruling it out that the 76ers can handle business without him. But look, last night everyone clicked and everyone played well. What happens if one person has an average game or 2 people just have an average game instead of an insane stellar game? Because that changes. You talk about perimeter players dribbling into the paint area and attacking the paint like the Wizards did in the beginning stages of that game. Well, you can have some Trae Young experiences and Clint Capella experiences when you have a 2-man game between those two and without a Joel Embiid in the paint area. So I'm worried. I'm absolutely worried. 1,000%. 1,000%. I am worried. Clint Capella will be an issue without Embiid. Ice Trae says, Bobby, don't feel worried. It's just a small tear. We're talking about Joe. Imagine a world that we live in, right? where Joel Embiid has a torn meniscus in the playoffs after having an MVP caliber season, and your team is a 1 seed because of Joel Embiid, and now he has a torn meniscus in the playoffs that's going to hold him out for a decent amount of time, and we're not supposed to feel worried about that. Don't feel worried about that. You should feel worried, and it's okay to feel worried. It's not wrong to feel worried. It's okay. It's okay. It's realistically the right way. It doesn't mean it's over for the series against the Hawks. It does mean it's over if he's unhealthy to play for the Brooklyn Nets or the Milwaukee Bucks series. That would be over for sure. But yeah, it's definitely troublesome, and I don't blame him. I alluded to this earlier in one of my podcasts where there's people mad at him, like he's the issue here, he's the problem. Why would he try and dunk the basketball? What's he doing? How stupid can he be? This is not even close to being on Joel Embiid. Dwight Howard, the thing is, Dwight Howard's not a starting cat. Dwight Howard's so hit or miss. Like last night, he was good. Last night, he played his role and he was strong. He grabbed some rebounds and his presence was strong. But then 2 games ago, he sucked and he gets all these fouls and he's horrendous and he's brutal. And he literally gives you a phenomenal game or he gives you an embarrassing effort. You went with Ben Simmons at the 5. Can you go with Ben Simmons at the 5 against a body like Clint Capella? I think you can get away with it when they try and throw Gafford at you, or if they have Alex Len, or if they have some of these scrubs if you're the Wizards. But as you progress here and you get better talent at the 5, I don't know if you can live with Ben Simmons at the 5. We tried Dwight starting in different moments. It didn't work at times. It worked at other times. I think he just fits best as a 15-minute guy off the bench. I think that burst of energy, that burst of toughness, that burst of different physicality down low is good for you. But after that, I don't think it's not long-term sustainable. This is where Al Horford would have been great. I don't even know if that's the case. I don't know if that's necessarily true. Tyrese Maxey was the spark we needed last night. Tyrese Maxey's such a fucking stud. He really is. He's so damn legit. And I got people fired up last night, apparently, because after Ben Simmons' great performance at the 5, all I asked was, are we more enamored with Tyrese Maxey because we've been watching a point guard that doesn't play the game traditionally for the last 4 years, where we see a standard point guard, someone who can drive the basketball towards the rim, someone with the floater game, someone with the mid-range game, someone who can shoot the ball off the dribble, someone who can create their own shots, someone who can shoot the ball from 3, someone who can come around the screen and actually be a threat in a pick and roll to shoot a basketball. We haven't seen that in 4 years. Sure, Shake Milton off the bench for a handful of minutes, but that's not the same thing as what I'm talking about now. Tyrese Maxey is an absolute stud. Are we feeling this way because we just don't see normalized standard play from a traditional point guard sense? We just don't see it. Maxey's going crazy out there, says Zach. Maxey will be extremely good in a few years, says Furkan Korkmaz. Pag says Maxey over Matisse in starting 5. Very possible. I would have went with, if you ask me my personal opinion on what I would have done to start out the game, I would have went George Hill, Seth Curry, Danny Green, Tobias Harris, Ben Simmons. That's what I wanted before the game. I saw it was Matisse Thybulle. I didn't hate it. I wasn't screaming at Doc saying, I don't understand at all why you would do this. No, I got it. I understood what he was trying to do. It did not work out as planned. I think that going with a veteran ball handler in Hill or Maxey would be a better from this point moving forward. So we'll see what they do. Different matchup, though. Now you have a different matchup. And after you see what happens in game 1 to the Atlanta Hawks, I'm sure that there will be some sort of adjustment period where you see what they throw at you. You see what they do well. You see how they counter what you have. And then you kind of make your adjustment from there. So, yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't think Matisse Thybulle would be my number 1 option. I like the veteran guard in Hill. I also understand Max. You have options. Here's the good thing. This is what tells you have a deep team. You have options at all these positions. Should you go Mike Scott, Dwight Howard, Ben Simmons? Now, I'm not telling you all those are great. I'm not a huge Mike Scott fan. at the 5. I don't think he deserves to play right now, but you do have options to hold you over a bit. At the point guard position, we got 3 options. You have a ton of options that you can go with. I don't think so, Matthew. I don't think you have. This is the problem why I don't think so. So Matthew says, do you think in a few years Maxey will be running point and we move Ben to a different role? Here's why I don't think that happens. Ben played well. Ben played well because there was no Joel Embiid. If Joel Embiid is your 5 and he's your back to the basket player, or he's facing up and he's giving you that mid-range game and he's jab stepping you to death and he's doing all the things that we love about Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons is not going to have the room to operate like he did last game. It's going to change the whole dynamic of Ben Simmons. So you can't have Ben Simmons do nothing and hang around with Joel Embiid being Joel Embiid. I don't think you get that same impact. So I don't know where Ben Simmons would go. You can't take the ball out of his hands because the thing he does so damn well is pass the basketball. If you stop him from facilitating, guess what? Sure, he defends. Yes, he can rebound. Like, the problem now starts to become how much money you're spending on Ben Simmons if that was his role. Because now you have a max contract player to be a hang around in the dunker spot and you take the ball out of his hands. Now you're spending a max contract on a player, Ben Simmons, to play off the ball and be that way. Aiden thinks Hawks are going to win in 6. For all the Sixers fans that think that the Hawks have no chance, even with Joel Embiid out, I can't go that way. Even if something happens in game 1 and the Sixers end up blowing them out. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that every game's going to go that way. I think the Sixers still have enough to win the series. Let's be clear. I still think the Sixers have enough to win the series. It's going to be a lot tougher, though. It's going to be a lot tougher. There's a reason why this team without Ben and this team without Joel Embiid don't have the same efficiency. They don't have the same win percentage. We talk about how important both of these players truly are. When Ben's out, everyone's like, see how important Ben is. When Joel's out, see how important Joel is. It matters. So it's a problem. I feel like Ben is going to no-show in this series. I don't know if it's fair to say he's going to no-show, but Ben. Ben is very inconsistent, and that's the frustrating thing about it. He'll give you an amazing, dominant performance, and then the next night he'll give you 6 field goal attempts. And he'll give you 5 field goal attempts to go 2 of 5 and go 2 of 6 from the free throw line. So it really does, it does matter. Sixers, Ben puts the clamps on Trae. I love this narrative that Trae Young's not going to be able to do anything at all. If there's anything we've seen out of this Sixers team when it comes to small, shifty guards, they struggle in that area. Now, is Ben Simmons going to play good defense? Yes, Ben Simmons is going to play good defense. Is Trae Young going to get his? Yes, Trae Young is going to get his. It's just how it works. Bradley Beal dropped 32 last night. Bradley Beal is going to get his. Now, ultimately, they lost, and it wasn't even close. So, take that for what it is. But I do think that this, even though if you look at it just individual-wise, I almost knocked over my coffee. If you just look at it from like an individual perspective, Bradley Beal, and people would say Russell Westbrook, even though he stinks. Russell Westbrook blows. Those players individually better than Trae Young. You can make the argument. You could have that conversation. You could have that debate. So why would a Trae Young team be able to beat you down and take control of you? Well, they're just a better overall team. They have a better supporting cast. They have more confidence. They play with more swagger. They have some attitude to them. They have an edge. They took care of business against the Knicks. I don't think the Knicks were that great. I think you saw the difference between regular season basketball and postseason basketball while watching the New York Knicks. But, yeah, the Trae Young team is definitely better. Wojo said Hill game 1. Wojo said he'll play game 1. What? Can we get a clarification on this, please? Can we get some clarification on what this statement means? Does it have anything to do with Woj? Because I see nothing from Woj. So I got nothing for you, Chris. I don't know what you're saying. Jake says, hey, Brodes, I know we barely have any information on Joel, but what's the feeling in your gut? My feeling tells me we're not going to see him for this Atlanta Hawks series unless it goes deeper involved. And even then, it's still a question mark. I think you're going to miss Joel Embiid for this entire season. And at this point, it's basically you are going to have to play the Atlanta Hawks without Joel Embiid. No, Woj did not say that Embiid is playing game one. That is not a true statement. That is a false statement. But yeah, I don't think you're going to see him until basically the Eastern Conference Finals. And that's a problem for me. That's a scary concern, and that's an issue. So that's where I am at with the whole dilemma of the Ben Simmons. Ben locking up Trae to me is making him a little less efficient, but more so keeping him from averaging 10 plus assists. What do you mean by that? How are you approaching this, Alex? Ben locking up Trae to me is making him a little less efficient, but more so keeping him from. So you're talking about don't get Trae Young or Trae Young. Don't have him get 10 assists. Don't allow for him to get 10 assists and making him a little less efficient. Yeah, I mean, that's how defense is in the NBA. There's a reason why elite offense beats elite defense 99.9% of the time in this league. It is a scorer's league. It is a 135 points in the playoffs type of league now, which is just asinine that you see this level of scoring, but it's also because you're taking more threes, you're hitting more threes, and I think the game is more open in the first round than I would have anticipated, but it also makes sense because of the lack of talent in the 8th seed, in the 7th seed, and the 6th seed, apparently, with the Miami Heat and all. So it makes sense. I think the Sixers do have a formula. There is a formulation to win. There's a formula to win the basketball game, but it's going to be a difficult road. It is. It's not going to be an easy one. It's not going to be a blowout. It's going to cause some issues that you're losing such an important piece. You think Tyrese Maxey is going to shut down Trae Young? Come on now. See, this is where we just reach this level of just what? We watch a man play for a handful of minutes and explode. And Tyrese Maxey has become a better defensive player. Tyrese Maxey has learned a lot basketball IQ-wise of what it's like to play on that second side of the floor, right? Second side. It should be the first side, really. I don't know why I said it that way. I just meant other side, the other side of the floor. Now we're saying Maxey's going to hold down the fort against Trae Young, and now we don't have to use Ben Simmons on one of their top. But what? It's like we're backpacking off of yesterday. Whoever was in here in yesterday's stream, we had like these most absurd statements and these most absurd comments, and somehow we're just like backpacking off of that. Is Doc worse for Ben's development than Brett Brown? At least Brett wanted Ben to shoot. This is just how it is for these NBA coaches. I think it's a Ben Simmons problem, and I feel these coaches know that. Greg Popovich, Doc Rivers, these guys are like, oh, yeah, Ben doesn't need to do this. Ben's a special talent. Ben's a treasure. Ben's this. Ben's that. They must know something about Ben where they can't push the buttons because no human being in their right mind would act as if this is normal and okay and good and what is needed for this team to take the next step. So it's just at this point, it has to be these coaches recognize something with Ben Simmons where you just can't push those buttons. You can't do it. Do we continue to see Hack a Ben? It comes in from Justin. No, I don't think you're going to see it that much, to be honest with you. I really don't. It's a desperation move. I think maybe teams try it, but it won't be anything long term. As you saw, Ben Simmons went 1 of 1, and then he went 2 of 2, and then they stopped doing it. Or he went 1 of 2. He hit down 1 of his first 2, and then he ended up going 3 or 4 total, and then they moved on. I don't think you're going to see it a lot. I really don't. I don't think it's going to be anything insanely aggressive. Maybe a team tries it here and there, but yeah, I don't think it's anything like insane that you're going to see all the time. Brodes, do you keep up with the French Open? So I do. I do keep up with the French Open. The thing is, with tennis for me, I love tennis. I really do love tennis. I think it's so underrated and it's so much fun. It's hard for me early on. It's hard for me early rounds. I'm into it. I'll have it on. It's background noise. Early rounds in the tournament, though, sometimes I lack in that area. I'm not going to lie. But if you tell me, like there's times where I'm watching one of these tournaments that are over overseas, right? And it's on at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. here, but it's Djokovic versus Federer in the finals. I'm setting my DVR or I'm setting my alarm to wake up. I remember one time I woke up at 3:30 to watch a Serena Williams. Like I'll do that any day of the week. A Serena Williams final, or if it's it's Nadal in the French Open. Of course, there's Clay. Of course, he's going to be involved. Things like that. I'm all in. But it does take me a bit in the beginning stages to somewhat find my way through the French Open stuff. Even though I know they're starting to kind of get there. They're getting there. If you look at the brackets, if you will. I'm looking for some of the here you go. Here's some of the results. Did not expect to go tennis background noise. Oh, 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 oh. That's exactly all it is, right? Depending on who you're playing. You're right. But I enjoy it. I really do. Oh, yeah. What do we got? We got 80. Tom saying outrageous things. Oh, geez. I'm going to miss Mark Zumoff. Yeah, there's nothing worse than making that transition, and now you're starting to go towards the TNT broadcast all the time. There really is nothing worse than that. So, unfortunately, you are correct. We are finished with the Mark Zumoff and Allah combination for the season, which is definitely damaging. Tennis is great. What other sports start with love all? Good stuff. Good stuff. Clap your hands, everybody. Philadelphia 76ers. Jack wants to know what's my opinion on this Hawks team. I think they're a good team. They're not a great elite team. They're in the middle of good and great. They're in between that good and great vibe. They're young, so they're very immature in this area. They don't have a lot of experience in this playoff run with Trae Young and all. They're very new to this, so there is a learning curve atmosphere for them. Coming into the Wells Fargo Center is a lot different than the New York Knicks in Madison Square Garden for a stinking Knicks team that was fourth seed. Like, you're coming into a different territory now. You're going up against the number 1 overall seed in the Eastern Conference. The problem is you don't have Joel Embiid, which you would not be a number 1 overall seed without Joel Embiid. So I'm fascinated because there's so many questions. We don't really know the answers to them, right? We don't know. What is this team going to look like over a long period of time? One game is such a small sample size. I've already alluded to this. When Ben Simmons doesn't play, this team is not the same. When Joel Embiid doesn't play, this team is not the same. You were able to beat a Wizards team in a 7-game series. Can you beat Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks? I would like to think yes. I still think that the Sixers are very smart. They're very intelligent. They're very versatile. They have a lot of different combinations that they can throw your way, and they have a lot of skill. So they have a lot of talent on their roster still where I think they can handle business against the Atlanta Hawks. But it's not going to be an easy series. I think this just adds a whole nother element, and I'm excited to see this. I'm excited to see this team face adversity. I want to see, how they react to this because it's tough. They got to dig real deep. Bradley Beal said he thinks they could take the Sixers in the game. So, yeah, that's strange. I don't know what the hell. Come on, Bradley. You guys just got annihilated in 5. You just lost when our point guard played center, and he had a triple-double, may I add. Lineup for game 1? I don't know. Game 1's on Sunday. I would think it's similar to what we've seen. The only question is it going to be Matisse Thybulle or somebody else? So I think it's going to be that. It's going to be the same thing we saw with Seth, Danny, Tobias, and Ben. And you ask the question, who's going to slide into that final spot? Is it George Hill? Is it Tyrese Maxey? Is it Matisse Thybulle? Matisse gives you that element of defense. It hurts your floor spacing, but do you have enough floor spacing with Toby, with Danny Green, and with Seth Curry where it doesn't matter? And speaking of Tobias Harris, my God, was he awesome. Tobias Harris was 9 of 17 for his 28 points. I was looking for my stats from last night. He was just outrageous, along with Seth. Come on, what he did to Hachimura. Come on, dude. My poor guy. My poor guy slipping like he's on ice skates, man. Just literally falling over, tripping over himself, and falling towards the back of the basketball. And what are we doing here, guy? Poor guy, Hachimura. But, yeah, Seth Curry was in his bag, dude. 30 points, 10 of 17 from the floor. He was just outrageous. I'm just surprised at the level of fans that don't reach a boiling point with this guy. How many seasons are you, the fan, going to put up with this? For God's sakes, the he went down during the same season. What are you talking about? Can you believe the lack of balls this player has? It's every season. During the most important moments, this 7 foot plus giant baby made of estrogen goes down with an injury. Anyone in their right mind, like, I don't even, dude, what are you talking about? Okay, so you get out of here, you loser. Get out of here, you loser. This is the kind of series that makes the championship run so sweet. Are you talking about this Atlanta Hawks series? Yeah, look, I want to see how they respond because this is a tough task. It is. It's not something that you can just breeze through. With Embiid, I think it's a breeze. With Embiid, I don't even think it's. I'm going. I said 5 because of the Wizards. You give a team a win because it's hard to win 4 straight. It's not easy at all. It's very difficult. With the Atlanta Hawks in a 5-game series, in a 7-game series, I see this going 5 as well. This is another 5-game series if Joel Embiid is in action. Without him, though, unfortunately, I think we can be talking about the 6 territory. We could be. We could be talking about deeper in the series. And who knows? Maybe Joel Embiid is back by then. But there is an element of excitement because I'm excited to see Ben Simmons take that stride. I hope he does. I've been very hard on him. This is what he does. He gives you the moment of, this is great. The Ben Simmons lover have their days. And then he gives you those efforts where he sucks and he blows the game because he can't hit free throws. And then the Ben Simmons haters have their day. And then he responds and he has a big game. And then the Ben Simmons lovers have their day. And then Ben Simmons is probably going to have a night where he gives you 4 field goal attempts and he's not very aggressive. And then the Ben Simmons haters are going to have those days. So what are we going to get out of Ben? What is the Ben Simmons we're going to have? Because I tweeted this before the game happened. We're going to need a Ben Simmons blow the smoke out of the nose emoji to have a victory. He has to play that way for this team to succeed. Now, Seth Curry stepped up in such a crazy way that, who knows, maybe you could have got away without it. But if you're talking about the longevity of this team and escaping this round with such a serious injury to your most important player, it relies on Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons has to dictate the pace. And he did last night. And they won. And it's no surprise that I love winning. That's why I watch this 76ers team. And even when they don't play, like tonight, for example, I'm still winning because I use Deal Dash, the online shopping platform that is actually fun. Deal Dash is the longest running penny auction and website and app around. Too good to be true? You bet it is. I've seen a car sold for $900. I've seen a brand new TV sold for less than $2. Do not be a loser and stop paying full retail price for the things you want and get on Deal Dash. Go to www.dealdash.com or download the app. By the way, when you register, enter the promo code COFFEE. That's promo code COFFEE for a special offer for some bonus opportunities. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, the link in the description will bring you to their website with my promo code already in play. I get sucked into TikTok for hours. I also get sucked into Deal Dash for hours as well. I love Ben, but he gives me gray hairs. He's so good, but sometimes plays so bad. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Perfectly said. Nets or Bucks tonight. Or, sorry, I read the one above that. LeBron going off tonight, and I combine that with Nets or Bucks. Who do you have winning their series? I honestly have no idea. I have no idea. This is going to be action-packed. It's going to be dynamic. It's going to be essentially an Eastern Conference Finals feel. Both of these teams are great. Both of these teams have their pros. Both of these teams have their cons. I really have no idea who's going to win this. All I know is I'm excited to watch. All I'm saying is I'm excited to watch every single second. Do they have dates and times yet? Do they? Do they have dates and times for some of these? Suns over the Lakers, says Dallas. Probably. It doesn't seem like the Lakers have it this season. It really doesn't. It doesn't seem like they're clicking and they're on the same page. NBA schedule. Is there a second round schedule yet? Okay, so that game starts Saturday at 7. Sunday. We don't have a time for the Sixers yet either, huh? So nothing for the Sixers. Milwaukee at Brooklyn is Saturday at 7:30 on TNT. Okay, so that starts round 2. What's on Friday? The only game on Friday is Clippers versus Dallas because of what happened last night. Yeah, how about that look that Rajon Rondo gave Kawhi Leonard? How fucking funny was that? $5 coming in from Bobby Stevens. Mark Scheifele's suspension over under. I'm setting the line at 7. No way. 7's no way. That's way too high. Way too high. I would be stunned. Absolutely stunned if Scheifele gets 7 games for that. He's not a repeat offender. It was brutal. I hate the hit. We actually recorded an Open Ice Hits earlier this morning that will be uploaded after Coffee with Brodes is done. So we did break down the hit. We talked about the hit. We talked about the Maple Leafs. We talked about the Bruins-Islanders series. So if you're a hockey fan, look forward to that. That will be uploaded after the show's over. But yeah, no, look, I think he's going to get 2 to 3 games. He hasn't done it before. He's very, 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 very respected in this league. It was filthy. It was disgusting. It was awful. But they're not just going to throw 7 playoff games at him. I would be absolutely stunned if that was the case. I would be stunned if we're talking about that level of suspension. But there's a problem in the NHL. There's no doubt about it. Guys are not finding the line. They don't know the line. They're going overboard. And we're in this mid area of transitioning. And I think guys are having a tough time figuring that out. But thank you so much for the $5 donation. Who do I have winning the Stanley Cup? It's hard to not say the answer is the Colorado Avalanche. My God, are they ridiculous? And then he gets that power play goal, although you can make the argument that it shouldn't have been a power play in overtime, but I digress. What they're doing to Vegas right now, although the series is not over. I watched Nashville go home and battle real tough last series when they went back into their own building. Well, when I'm watching right now between the Vegas Golden Knights and Colorado, when you get into Vegas, it's a different atmosphere. Just saw the hit on SportsCenter. Man, that was brutal. It was brutal. I don't think he's going to get 7 games, though. I don't think so. What do we have here? What do the Clippers need? So much talent, but they can't put it together. Sometimes it's just chemistry. Sometimes it's as simple as the team doesn't have flow. The team just doesn't have that it factor when it comes to gelling. Some guys might have banging personalities where they just don't mesh together. They don't like one another when the locker room kind of disputes away. It's sort of like what happened last year with the Sixers. Al Horford not having fun. Josh Richardson not having fun. These guys are not having fun together. And when you don't have fun together, when you don't believe in one another, when you don't fight for one another, when you're not playing like a family, when it seems like it's more of a, you're forced to be there and it's not you want to be there for one another, you don't get that same attitude on the court. You don't get that same edge. You don't get that same style of play. And I think it's pretty clear and evident that the Clippers don't have that. It seems like they're just guys and they're not a team. And to a degree, while superstar talent matters, and you don't have to be the most perfect team in the world, because guess what? Shaq and Kobe didn't like one another, but they both had attitudes and they both did play with the right mentality to do it. So it's not the only way to get it done, but it could be the downfall with your franchise. And right now, it does seem to be like there's a lot of disconnect. He doesn't get all the credit for when he loses, Wesley. Stop it. That's asinine. He does not get it. That's just being facetious and an asinine statement. But of course he gets credit. It was a good team win. Like you're too fascinated with Ben. Like that's all you talk about. You think it's called the Philadelphia Bens. Like, no, we talk about Ben the right amount. We talk about other guys just the same amount. We talk about Tobias. We talk about Seth. We talk about them just as much. He gets credit when you win. He had a great triple-double playing at the 5. Seth Curry was awesome. Tobias Harris was great. Tyrese Maxey was a huge factor. Dwight Howard stepped into his role. So, yeah, Ben Simmons is going to get some praise for doing what he did well. Like he always does. This is called when you are a max contract player. Like, I hate to break it to you, Wesley. Everyone gets talked about. But when you're a like Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid is your star. You talk about your star. Ben Simmons, as you know, is a top-tier talent on your team. So you get talked about when you are a top-tier talent on your team. That comes with the max contract. That comes with the all-star appearances. That comes with being the primary ball handler and talking the shit the way he talks his shit. They love me not. They love me not. Just like you put up on Instagram. That's what happens when you are that caliber of player. We talk about LeBron more than we talk about Caruso. We talk about these guys who are at the top more than the others. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. That's how it happens. That's how it goes. You want me to rant about an injury? Come on. How old are you? I would love to know how old you are, because sometimes I swear to God, I'm picking fights with children. I'm sure he's going to say 81. Like, if Ben Simmons got hurt, you don't sit there and rip Ben Simmons apart. It's called playing basketball. Things are uncontrollable. There's a difference between getting upset with a player for a controllable and then getting pissed off with someone for something that's uncontrollable. Ben Simmons sucking at certain moments in basketball games is a controllable. Joel Embiid landing on his knee and being 7'2" and that causing knee problems is an uncontrollable. So it's not that hard to realize how there is a difference. I really don't. It blows my mind that you don't see this. So you want me to get mad at someone for making a basketball play and getting hurt the same way I get mad at someone for not shooting a basketball? I mean, come on now. Yeah, let me get mad at the MVP of the league. Let me get mad at the MVP of the league for being 7'2" and having some injuries because of it. Wesley, this is a horrendous comment. You don't truly believe that. Joel Embiid constantly jumping. It's basketball. So, yes, jumping is in play. Flopping and falling. And, I mean, he's not a flopper. Joel Embiid's not really a flopper. He played basketball. He made a basketball play. And he landed on his knee making a basketball play. He was at the three-point area. He drove, as he always does, billions of times. And he went hard to the basket. He did nothing other than make a basketball play. He did not do anything outrageous. Come on, Wesley. You're better than this. You're better than this. Oh, I know he's a clown. I know he's a clown. Looks like today is another bad take day. I know. I know. It's fun, though. It's fun. I know. It's fun. I like having fun. It's entertaining. This is why I always say, like, yes, I get passionate. Yes, I get outraged. And yes, my emotions come out. But at the end of the day, it's sports, right? Like, this is what makes it fun. This dialogue, this back and forth. Call it be. You're an idiot. You're stupid. You're dumb. It's sports. It's a sports thing. Like, it is what it is. Like, I have fun with it. I don't take it to heart. I never turn this stream off, sit back, relax while I'm enjoying time with my family, and think about Wesley Stone, right? Like, I don't do that. It doesn't affect my life. So it's fun during coffee with Brodes, fun time, whatever. I ain't giving this guy enough of my time in my life that it matters. Am I worried about, and what am I worried about? Am I worried about Capella? Yeah, absolutely. There should be. There should be a little bit of some worry when it comes to Capella. There's a big man, and you're losing some big-time size. Keith Richmond comes in with a $10 for the Brodes Tattoo Fund. Countdown begins. 14 days till Brodes gets under the needle. I'm praying for the basketball gods for JoJo to heal quickly and play after we beat Atlanta. Yeah, I mean, look, I am a little bit more on the cautious side here going into this series. I don't think it's going to be the easiest in the world. I think it's going to be tough. I think we're talking more of a 6-game series than 4 or 5 because of the lack of size now that is in play. And yes, I am scheduled. Let me get my calendar here. And I can't wait to move on from the old school. I went desk calendar, right? And I got the old, like, good, solid, like, not agenda, but it's like a good, solid, structured, sophisticated looking planner, if you will. And that starts in July. So I'm excited to make the transition. But anyway, I brought that up because 17th, July 17th, for everyone who donated into the Brodes Tattoo Fund, thank you all so much. And thank you, Keith, for starting the Brodes Tattoo Fund. How about it? At noon on Thursday, the 17th, we will be getting this bad boy finally colored in. So I'm excited for it. Getting tattooed again in 14 days? Wow, what are the odds of that happening? Are you for real? You're getting tattooed on the 17th as well. That's crazy. Are the Hawks better than the Wizards? I don't know. Like, there's two ways that this question's being asked. Are you being a jerk off, or do you really not know? Because if you don't really know, then I apologize. If you're just kind of being like a jerk off, well, then shame on you. The Hawks are better than the Wizards. Yes. The Hawks are definitely better than the Wizards. Do I think Simmons is going to contain Trae? I don't even know if you start him out on Trae. You might put him on Trae at times, but you have Danny Green, you have Matisse Thybulle. You could do other things where you don't utilize Ben Simmons on Trae Young, which might be the case. They might try and do that. So, I was listening to, was it Rich Hoffman, or I forget who I was talking to. I don't think it was Rich Hoffman. Who was it that I was listening to? I forget. It was someone who is covering the team and all. But, yeah, maybe you go with a different element where you can utilize Danny Green or utilize somebody else where you put Ben Simmons in a different area. Oh, we're going with the Nick Foles comparisons with Dwight Howard. There is no Nick Foles backup for Embiid. Howard is not Foles. I agree with you. There is no Joel Embiid backup. You need Joel Embiid. All right, you need Joel Embiid. Need my Danny Green blow-by compilation. What do you mean? Danny Green's a good defender. Sure, he shows his age at times, but he can definitely hold his own. No doubt. This is a horrendous take, Sacred. Sacred thinks that Trae Young is as overrated as Russell Westbrook. That is a bad take. That's a bad take. Trae Young is way better than Russell. I can't get it. It's not that this series told me anything new about Russell Westbrook, but I don't give Russell Westbrook my time because there's no reason for me to watch garbage basketball and to make my eyes bleed that way. I did that. I did that for years during the process, made my eyes bleed. I don't need to do that anymore. I'll tell you what, though. This guy is horrendous. This guy is horrendous. I just can't believe that Hall of Famer. Yeah, I'm almost a Hall of Famer. They let anybody into the damn Hall of Fame. This guy averages a triple-double, and he sucks. It's amazing. It's amazing that you look at the stat sheet. Oh, yeah, here's your fucking stat sheet. 7 of 20 for 24 points and minus 21. Good for you. Good for you. Oh, God damn. You are just fucking amazing. You stink. You stink. Now, this is where I dip. This is where it's different. Because there are people that say, well, Simmons, what do you say about Simmons? Simmons impacts the game and helps his team win. Now, there's a lot that holds this team back, too. So there's an element of his game that holds his team back. But there's an element of his game that is so important to team basketball as well, where Simmons' impact definitely does contribute to winning culture of basketball. Now, ultimately, his flaw holds this team back. That's why we scream, because fixing that flaw puts this team at an advantage and a better spot to win. You can still win with this if you have an MVP like Joel Embiid, if Seth Curry can give you the game like he did last night and Tobias Harris is as effective. There is a way to maneuver yourself around it. But Simmons does, and this is why it's so frustrating and it's so conflicting and it's so toying with all your emotions. Ben Simmons results to a winning brand of basketball, even with the holding back when we talk about the Eastern Conference Finals and things of that nature that needs to change. Russell Westbrook does not result in winning basketball. He's just a very inefficient player. Is Maxey a starter next year? I mean, the kid can play. I don't know what you do. There's so much in play with that, right? Danny Green's contract. There's so many different variables into what's going to happen with next year and who's going to start and whatnot. So I don't really know that answer, but he's a starter in this league? I mean, that's pretty damn obvious. Well, Jack, this is going too far. If Joel is not there, Jack has the Hawks in 4. That's disrespectful. That's very disrespectful to the Sixers and the way that they have played this season. I think it's a 6-game series. Hell, I think it could even go 7 if Joel Embiid is not there. I also think by game 6 or 7, Joel Embiid might be back. And even if he is back, it's not going to be something where he comes back and he's giving you 42 and 10. This is going to hinder his ability. It's going to hinder the strong play that he can give you. It's not going to be as strong as we would like it to be. There's going to be pain. There's going to be swelling. There's going to be cortisone shots. There's going to be this. There's going to be that. There's going to take a lot of time management here, and there's going to be a lot of behind the scenes stuff going on to get Joel Embiid back on the floor. 4 is just outrageous, though. Well, we can't get into the offseason. We can't get in the offseason now. It's way too soon for that. We're in the middle of a run. Daryl Morey's a wizard. If we got him after Hinkie was fired, yeah, instead of Brian Colangelo, you're right, but there's a reason why the Rockets still had him, right? There's a reason. That's why it was so shocking when he became available. It's like, what? What do you say? Even without Embiid, Sixers in 5. See, I think without Embiid, it could be Sixers in 6 or 7. I think without Embiid, I see it more Sixers in 6 or 7. That's how I see it. It's tough. It's tough. You're missing out on such a key part. And one game is so crazy. Like, we watched yesterday's game, and now all of a sudden we can take down anyone without Joel Embiid. Well, I don't know if that's really who you're going to get every single time. Everyone pretty much clicked. Everyone was on their A game. Everyone was awesome for the most part, at least in a specific moment, right? I talked about my few moments. I had a few moments that I wrote down after yesterday's game. Maxey in the first half, explosion, right? Just a beautiful, crafty player who was electric. Taking it to the rim, almost had that big dunk. Just versatile with the ability with the ball in his hands. Just awesome. Danny Green, right before the first half ended, he had the weird knee bend on that block call. Then he had the corner 3, he had the steal inbound, and he took a charge. Energy in the Wells Fargo. Hack a Ben. Ben responded with 3 of 4. Westbrook had those emotional fouls, and there was a steal on Tobias that landed to a Ben Simmons and 1 frustration foul. That was monstrous. And then Dwight Howard with the bench. There were just so many different key elements where, you look at Seth Curry, you look at Tobias, you look at this team. You can go down the list of each individual player, and I'll give you their turning point moment. I'll give you their specific moment of the game. Will you get that every time? And what happens when the opponent rises with talent? So the opponent has better talent, and that one player might not have that same impact. If it's one player has a hiccup, one player has a slow day, does that change it, especially when the team isn't the Washington Wizards on the other side? Tyrese should have been a top 10 pick. Paul Reed should have gone in the first round. Well, Isaiah has shown a ton of potential. Yeah, they're good players for sure. I mean, we start talking about Paul Reed, this and that. I mean, Paul Reed is so not, like, we thought Tyrese Maxey's raw. We start talking about Isaiah Joe and Paul Reed. They're more projects. I mean, they're projects. They might be able to play, but I do think we're getting out of hand here on how far we're going with this extreme. Tyrese Maxey, we all, and this organization has found a lot of players in this selection in that area, and that's awesome, right? Tyrese Maxey, Landry Shamet, Matisse Thybulle. You start getting these players in that range of deeper draft picks, and it helps solidify your roster, and it's amazing. So that's kind of been happening throughout as a whole. But yeah. What does it say? This year, I will attach the pictures to your email and send them back with the link. And the other one I was there to send, and then we can grab, and I will be there. I have 3 in the other. I don't know what you're referencing, Dallas. I apologize. I don't know what you're referencing. Furkan Korkmaz is my thoughts on Furkan Korkmaz. I think Shake Milton has been such a disaster that Furkan has been given an opportunity and he's been making some shots. Now, the game has been opened up for him. I always talk about postseason ball and how it's different. I'm conflicted. There's a side of me that thinks that the game has changed. The game has changed so much that this is now NBA basketball where it's not as half court heavy. It's not as slowed down. There's also a side of me that says, well, that happens against the Wizards. And that happens against bad teams. If you play the Milwaukee Bucks, I bet your ass it's slowed down. If you play some of these other teams, I bet your ass it's slowed down. So is this a product of 2021 basketball, or is this a product of the aggressive style of play with the up and down pace? This is a series where you can get away with the Furkan Korkmaz because the team stinks on the other side and the game is more open. It won't be as effective when the game is slowed down. And is that going to happen, or is that the nature of, like, is it a product of the style of play in 2021? Is it a nature of the team you're playing up against? That's kind of my thoughts with Furkan, but he was given an opportunity and he made some shots. There's that. Seth Curry is going to be the key. I think there's going to be a lot of keys. Toby says Seth Curry is going to be the key. I mean, there's a lot of key. Containing Trae Young. Who's going to contain Trae Young? Who's going to play the 5 position? And can you get away with Ben Simmons effectively in a 7-game series playing the center position? That's a big one. What are you going to get out of Dwight Howard? Danny Green's defense. I think that there's a lot of keys. I don't know if you told me, like, what are the keys to winning the series, I don't think Seth Curry is the first one that pops into my mind, honestly. It's Ben Simmons. The first guy to come to my mind is Ben Simmons. I don't know if I'm going Ben on Trae Young right from the jump, honestly. I'm thinking maybe a Danny Green. Maybe you can try Danny Green and see what it goes from there. Maybe I give that a whirl and we see what happens, and from there you can make the initial adjustment. Or if Matisse is in the starting lineup, of course, that changes a lot. That gives you that dynamic of it. So there is that element too, for sure. If Matisse is going to start, you can throw him in there. I'm thinking more without Matisse in the starting lineup because I'm just so used to that. But yeah. You have Bogdanovich. That's right. See, Ben Simmons can maybe start on Bogdanovich, and from there you can make the adjustment. Maybe at halftime just to give him a different layer. You can give him a different layer, a different look. You start out with one guy. You start out with Matisse. You start out with someone else, and then bang, here's Ben Simmons, who's 6'10", with that body frame, with that arm length, who can really make it uncomfortable for you and get into your grill, so you can switch things up on Trae Young. But yeah, I think that Bogdanovich is maybe an area where Ben Simmons, well, see, the thing is with Joel, it's such a different dynamic. It changes the whole thing. It really does change the whole thing. What are we talking about? Frank Gore? We're talking Frank Gore? What are we doing here? Adam Hazley? What is happening? What is going on? Tobias Harris is the key to success. Yeah, look, this is the thing. You saw it. You saw that this is a team, right? This is a team. You're going to need all these players to play their role. Everyone's going to have to do their job. When you lose your superstar, how do you make up for that? Well, no one's going to just snap their fingers and take control and be Joel Embiid. That's just not going to happen. So everyone has their identity. Everyone has their personality on the floor. Be the best version of yourself. So Tobias will be key. Someone mentioned Seth Curry being key. I mentioned Ben Simmons having to be key. Everyone in their own way has to be them. Be yourself. And everyone is the best version of themselves on that given day. You'll get an effort like yesterday's second half where they put the clamps on defensively. They created turnovers. They made it uncomfortable for Bradley Beal. They pounced on their opportunities. And from there, they exploited their matchup. So there is an element of that. You have to just, because my point is everyone's bringing up these, this guy has to do it, that guy has to do it, this guy has to do it. Well, everyone has to be their branded version of themselves. And that's where you make up for those holes of Joel Embiid, because no one's just going to be Joel Embiid. $5 coming in from, no, we're not, Dallas. Unfortunately, I'm not even going to go in that direction. I appreciate the donation, but we're not going to talk about that. So, I want to thank everybody. It's 10 o'clock now. I want to thank everybody for hanging out today on Coffee with Brodes. I had a lot of fun. It's Thursday already. This week just flew by. Of course, with Memorial Day weekend, though, everybody kind of has that day off on Monday, and it changes your perspective on the week. The week flies by a little bit quicker. I think that's kind of what just happened. But yeah, so Coffee with Brodes is now going to come to an end. Weird. We got no games today. We have no games today, no games tomorrow in terms of Philadelphia sports. So uh, keep your eyes out. We're going to have some podcasts up. We'll talk more about the Sixers. We'll talk more about the Phils. We'll talk more about these teams over the next day. I'm sure I'll have a show up late tonight, if not tomorrow morning. There'll be some stuff. Also, keep in mind, Open Ice Hits, if you're a hockey fan, will be coming out today. Am I going on Twitch today? I didn't yesterday. I don't know. I have some things I have to take care of later on this afternoon. So follow me on Twitter at Brodes81, and you'll see there if I will. Oh, yeah, the Phillies are on tomorrow. Excuse me. The Phillies are on tomorrow. They start their Washington National Series, so I apologize. The Phillies are on tomorrow. But I don't know if I will be going on Twitch or not. Follow me on Twitter at Brodes81. You'll know there. Thank you, guys. I will hang out with you